Hello, wanderers of time and memory, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving headfirst into a film that wraps itself around your heart like a warm blanket on a rainy day. A story brimming with awkward charm, profound love, and a dash of the extraordinary hidden within the utterly ordinary. We're journeying back to the sun-drenched coast of Cornwall and the bustling streets of London to relive Richard Curtis's gentle masterpiece, About Time. Picture this: rugged cliffs meeting the restless Atlantic, cozy family homes filled with laughter, books, and endless cups of tea. This is the world of Tim Lake, a young man on the cusp of adulthood, characterized by a lanky awkwardness and an earnest heart. He's gangly, endearingly unsure of himself, especially around girls, and lives a life that feels perfectly, comfortably normal. He has a loving, eccentric family, a sharp, supportive mother, a delightfully free-spirited sister, Kit Kat, a slightly vague Uncle Desmond, and a father, James Lake, a retired university professor with a twinkle in his eye and a profound love for books and his family. Life in Cornwall is idyllic, predictable, filled with beach parties, outdoor movie nights, and the gentle rhythm of the seasons. But on the morning after another disappointing New Year's Eve party, just as Tim turns 21, his father calls him into his study for a chat. It's a conversation that will irrevocably alter the fabric of Tim's reality, a revelation passed down through the male line of their family like a peculiar genetic trait. His father, with careful gravity mixed with a touch of nonchalance, tells Tim something impossible. The men in their family can travel through time. Not back to witness the dinosaurs or alter the course of history, mind you. The rules are specific, almost deliberately mundane. They can only travel within their own lifetime to places they've been and moments they remember. To initiate the journey, they need to find a dark, private space, a cupboard, a wardrobe, a dark room. Clench their fists tightly and vividly picture the moment they wish to return to. Returning to the present is just as simple. Same process, focusing on coming back. His father explains he mostly used it to read more, revisiting books again and again. He cautions Tim against using it for grand ambitions like accumulating wealth, warning that it often leads to unforeseen complications and rarely brings true happiness. Instead, he subtly guides Tim towards a different path, suggesting what Tim truly wants deep down is what most people want: love. Tim, initially disbelieving, dismisses it as an elaborate joke. But his father insists. So, Tim decides to test it. He retreats to the darkness of his wardrobe, fists clenched, thinking back to the disastrous New Year's Eve party just hours before, the awkward silences, the missed opportunities for a kiss, and then disorientation. A flicker. He opens the wardrobe door and finds himself back at the party. It worked. He's stunned, exhilarated. He navigates the party again, this time armed with foreknowledge, managing to secure that midnight kiss he fumbled the first time around. The impossible is real. He holds a secret power, a cosmic rewind button for his own life. The summer unfolds, and Tim begins experimenting with his newfound ability, mostly in the pursuit of romance. The family hosts a summer guest, the beautiful and captivating Charlotte. Tim is instantly smitten. This, he thinks, is what the power is for. He uses his time travel ability repeatedly, trying to perfect his interactions with her, attempting multiple versions of conversations, jokes, and approaches. He rewinds awkward moments, refines his lines, tries to engineer the perfect path to her heart. He learns quickly, however, that time travel isn't a magic wand for affection. Despite his efforts, crafting the perfect moment doesn't guarantee genuine connection or change someone's fundamental feelings. On Charlotte's last night, he finally confesses his love, only to be gently told she wishes he'd said something earlier in the summer. Now, it's too late. Heartbroken but wiser, Tim rewinds the entire summer back to the beginning, confidently telling her how he feels on her first day. But this time, Charlotte suggests maybe they should wait until the last day to avoid ruining the holiday if things go wrong. It's a poignant, funny lesson. You can manipulate moments, but you can't manufacture love or circumvent the unpredictable nature of human connection. has limits, especially when it comes to the hearts of others. Charlotte leaves, and Tim is left with the bittersweet understanding that his gift requires more finesse, perhaps a different purpose altogether. The Cornish idyll eventually gives way to the next chapter. Tim moves to London to pursue a career in law, moving in with a family acquaintance, Harry, a misanthropic but ultimately decent playwright. London is a stark contrast to Cornwall, faster, greyer, more anonymous. Tim navigates the challenges of his legal training and the often lonely landscape of a big city. His quest for love continues, marked by the usual trials and errors of youth, now tinged with the secret knowledge that he can always have a do-over. He attends parties, goes on dates, but nothing quite clicks. The power makes him bolder, perhaps allowing him to erase social blunders, but it doesn't conjure the magic he seeks. He learns that even with infinite riches, finding someone special isn't guaranteed. Then comes a night that changes everything. His friend Jay invites him to something unique. Dinner at Domhnall, a restaurant where patrons dine in complete pitch darkness.
It's an experience designed to heighten senses other than sight, forcing connection through conversation alone. Tim finds himself seated opposite a woman named Mary. In the enveloping darkness, stripped of visual cues and prejudgments, something sparks. They talk effortlessly, laugh easily. Her voice is warm, her wit sharp. They connect on a level that feels immediate and profound, sharing stories and insecurities without the usual awkwardness. There's an undeniable chemistry, a sense of recognition in the dark. When the meal ends and they step back into the light, they awkwardly fumble for details. She gives him her number. Tim is ecstatic. He feels like he's finally found her, the one. This feels different, real. He returns home, buzzing with excitement, only to find his landlord Harry distraught. Harry's new play, which opened that night, was a catastrophe. The lead actor forgot his lines, cues were missed, the whole thing was a train wreck. Harry is devastated, his career seemingly in ruins. Seeing his friend in such genuine despair, Tim feels compelled to help. It seems like a simple fix. Go back in time a couple of hours, intervene with the actor before the show, prevent the disaster. He finds a dark space, clenches his fists, and travels back to before the play started. He intercepts the flustered actor, gives him the crucial line prompts, calms his nerves. The play goes on, this time without a hitch. It's a success. Harry is relieved, triumphant even. Tim feels good, having used his power for selfless reasons to help a friend. But when Tim, still basking in the glow of his successful intervention and his magical night with Mary, checks his phone to text her, her number isn't there. Confusion turns to dawning horror. By going back in time to before the play started, he also went back to before he went to Domhnall. He has inadvertently erased his entire meeting with Mary. The perfect connection, the shared laughter in the dark, the phone number. It never happened in this new timeline. The night he saved Harry's play became the night he lost Mary. It's a devastating blow, a harsh lesson in the unforeseen consequences, the cruel ripple effects of altering the past. He fixed one problem only to create a far more personal, heart-wrenching one. The search for Mary must begin all over again, but this time he doesn't even know if it's possible. Panic sets in. Tim knows Mary exists, remembers her voice, her laugh, the feeling of their connection, but he has no way to find her, no name beyond Mary, no number. London suddenly feels impossibly vast. He replays the fragments of their conversation in his mind, searching for clues. Then a flicker of memory. She mentioned being a fan of Kate Moss. It's a long shot, incredibly tenuous, but it's all he has. He remembers hearing about an upcoming Kate Moss exhibition at the National Portrait Gallery. Clinging to this fragile hope, Tim decides to stake out the exhibition. Day after day, he returns, scanning faces, hoping for a miracle. It feels obsessive, almost stalkerish, but driven by the memory of that connection, he persists. He spends hours, days, maybe even weeks wandering the gallery, his legal studies neglected, his life consumed by this search. The odds are astronomical. And then, incredibly, he sees her. There she is, admiring the photographs. Relief washes over him, so potent it's almost paralyzing. But there's a new complication. As he watches, planning his approach, he sees her greet a friend, and then her boyfriend. His heart sinks. He found her, but he's too late in this timeline. This is where Tim's use of time travel becomes more complex, venturing into morally ambiguous territory. He can't just walk up and try to steal her away. He needs an opening. He decides to go back in time again, this time to the party where, according to Mary's friend, Mary first met her current boyfriend. His plan? Intercept her. Before she meets the other guy, charm her, get her number, and essentially engineer their meeting under different circumstances. It takes multiple attempts. The first time he tries, he's awkward, fumbles his lines. Rewind. The next time, he comes on too strong. Rewind. He keeps adjusting, refining his approach, learning her friend's name, figuring out the perfect, casual yet charming introduction. It's a meticulous, slightly unsettling process of trial and error, using his power to manipulate circumstances until he gets the desired outcome. Finally, after several tries, he succeeds. He meets Mary at the party. They hit it off, again, but for the first time for her. And this time, he gets her number, successfully erasing the boyfriend from her timeline and inserting himself. From this point, their relationship begins, but it's built on a foundation only Tim fully understands. He uses his ability constantly in the early days, smoothing over the little bumps and imperfections that mark any new romance. If he says the wrong thing on a date, he rewinds and says something better. If an evening feels slightly off, he relives it until it feels perfect. He engineers their first kiss, their first I love you, ensuring everything aligns with his idealized vision. He essentially crafts their courtship into a flawless highlight reel, removing the stumbles, the awkward silences, the minor disagreements. Mary, unaware, experiences a seemingly perfect, effortless romance, falling deeply in love with this charming, attentive man who always seems to know the right thing to say. Tim introduces Mary to his eccentric family in Cornwall. They adore her instantly. His father, perhaps sensing the undercurrent of Tim's interventions, or simply possessing deep paternal wisdom, offers quiet advice about love and life. The trips to Cornwall become a regular occurrence, grounding their relationship in the warmth and chaotic charm of the Lake family home. Living together in London, their bond deepens. Tim continues to use his power for small things, ensuring a meal isn't burnt, avoiding a minor argument, making everyday moments slightly sweeter. But there's a growing sense, perhaps unspoken, that the reliance on perfect might be masking something essential. The proposal happens, naturally, inevitably. And true to form, Tim doesn't leave it to chance. He likely tries several versions. Perhaps one is too grand, another too simple, another interrupted. He travels back until he crafts what he deems the perfect proposal moment, ensuring Mary's reaction is exactly the joyful surprise he envisioned. She says yes, blissfully unaware of the temporal rehearsals that preceded the seemingly spontaneous question. Their love story, from her perspective, is a fairy tale. From Tim's, it's a meticulously edited film. The wedding day arrives, set against the backdrop of the beloved Cornish coast. And despite Tim's ability to perfect moments, some things defy control, or perhaps are better left beautifully imperfect. The weather is dreadful. Howling winds and driving rain threaten to blow the marquee away. Guests struggle against the elements, umbrellas turning inside out, hair plastered to foreheads. It's chaotic, slightly disastrous, yet utterly memorable. The best man, Tim's friend Jay, delivers a speech so excruciatingly awkward and ill-judged that it becomes legendary in its awfulness. Tim, initially mortified, faces a choice. He could rewind Coach Jay, rewrite the speech, ensure smooth applause. But he hesitates. He looks around at Mary, laughing despite the cringe-worthy jokes, at his family huddled together against the storm, at the sheer, undeniable joy present despite the imperfections. Perhaps he does tweak the speech slightly, perhaps not. The film leaves a little ambiguity. But the larger point lands. Some moments, like this wild, windswept, imperfectly perfect wedding, derive their magic from their very realness, their shared endurance of chaos. It's a turning point for Tim, a subtle shift in his understanding of his power and its place in a meaningful life. The most poignant moment of the wedding, however, is the father's speech. James Lake stands up, not with grand pronouncements, but with quiet wisdom. He speaks of finding happiness in the ordinary, of appreciating the small moments. He shares his own formula for happiness, a philosophy he has clearly imparted to Tim before, but which resonates profoundly on this day. It's a message about savouring life, not trying to control its every variable. It's a seed planted, foreshadowing the deeper lessons Tim is yet to learn. The wedding, despite or perhaps because of its chaotic charm, solidifies Tim and Mary's bond and sets the stage for the next chapter. Family life. Life settles into a new rhythm for Tim and Mary. They navigate careers, maintain friendships, and soon welcome their first child, a daughter named Posy. Fatherhood brings a new dimension to Tim's life and his use of time travel. Initially, he uses it for practical parenting hacks, rewinding a sleepless night to try a different soothing technique, going back to catch a dropped toy before it smashes, reliving precious firsts like a smile or a word. It's the ultimate parental safety net, a way to ease the stresses and amplify the joys of raising a young child. During visits back to Cornwall, Tim continues to spend precious time with his father. James, noticing Tim's continued reliance on rewinds, gently shares his perfected philosophy, the secret formula he alluded to at the wedding. He reveals how he truly used his time travel ability in later life. His advice is simple, yet profound. Live every day twice. The first time, James explains, just live it normally. Experience all the stresses, the frustrations, the rush, the mundane annoyances that inevitably crowd our daily existence. Let the tensions happen, feel the worries. Then, the second time around, go back to the beginning of the same day, fists clenched in the dark, and relive it. But this time, knowing what's coming, actively choose to notice the good. Savour the cup of coffee, appreciate the unexpected joke from a colleague, truly listen to your child's rambling story, relish the walk home. By reliving the day without the initial anxieties, and with a conscious effort to appreciate the small wonders, you can transform an ordinary day into something extraordinary. Tim starts implementing his father's technique. He lives through a stressful day at work, a slightly tense evening with Mary, the usual chaos of parenting. Then he goes back. The second time through, the minor irritations fade. He focuses on Mary's smile, his daughter's infectious giggle, the beauty of a sunset glimpsed through the kitchen window. He finds that his father is right. This method doesn't change events, but it profoundly changes his experience of them, cultivating a deep sense of gratitude and presence. It's a more mature, more meaningful application of his gift than merely fixing mistakes or chasing perfection. However, life inevitably brings challenges that even time travel struggles to mitigate. Tim's beloved sister, Kit Kat, has always been impulsive and vulnerable, prone to bad relationships and bouts of insecurity. Her latest relationship with the charming but unreliable Jimmy is particularly toxic. Tim watches with growing concern as Kit Kat's drinking increases and her happiness dwindles. He tries to intervene, using small time jumps to offer advice or steer her away from arguments, but her destructive patterns persist. Then, the devastating news arrives. Kit Kat, heartbroken and drunk after another fight with Jimmy, has been in a serious car accident. She survives, but is badly injured. Tim is overcome with guilt and a desperate urge to fix it. This isn't just about smoothing over an awkward moment. This is about saving his sister from profound pain and potentially life-altering consequences. His first instinct is drastic. Go back much further, prevent her from ever meeting Jimmy. He envisions altering that specific moment in the past, erasing the entire destructive relationship from her history. He and Mary travel back in time together, as Mary needs to be present for the conception of their child later in that timeline, to a party years earlier, successfully steering Kit Kat away from Jimmy and towards one of Tim's kinder friends. They return to the present, hopeful that they've rewritten Kit Kat's recent history for the better. They find Kit Kat happy, healthy, and in a stable relationship with the friend. It seems like a resounding success. But then Tim goes to check on his daughter, Posy. He walks into her room and finds a different child. A boy. He's utterly bewildered, then horrified. He rushes to his father, desperate for an explanation. His father gently clarifies a crucial, previously unmentioned rule of their time travel. Any journey back to a time before one's child was conceived risks altering the specific sperm-egg combination that created that unique individual. By changing the past, even subtly, Tim changed the precise circumstances of Posy's conception. The daughter he knows and adores has been erased, replaced by a different child. The realization is catastrophic. He is faced with an impossible choice: allow Kit Kat to suffer the consequences of her accident and relationship, or lose the daughter who is the center of his world. The power that seemed like a gift now presents him with an agonizing ethical dilemma. He cannot save his sister without sacrificing his child. With a heavy heart, Tim knows what he must do. He has to undo the change. He and Mary travel back once more, ensuring Kit Kat does meet the awful Jimmy, restoring the original painful timeline. They return to the present to find Posy back in her crib, exactly as she was. Kit Kat is still injured, still recovering from the accident and the toxic relationship, but Tim's daughter is safe. He learns the most painful lesson yet. Some events, however tragic, cannot be undone without unbearable cost. He must support Kit Kat through her recovery in the present, not erase her past. Just as the family navigates Kit Kat's recovery, another more profound shadow falls over their lives. Tim's father, James, reveals he has terminal cancer. The diagnosis is grim. He doesn't have long. The news hits Tim like a physical blow. His father, his guide, the anchor of the family, the keeper of their shared secret, is dying. Suddenly, the time travel ability takes on a new, poignant significance. It cannot cure his father's illness, it cannot extend his life indefinitely in the present, but it can give Tim more time with him. Tim begins using his power not to change things, but simply to revisit moments. He travels back frequently, sharing ordinary days with his father again and again. They walk on the Cornish beaches they both love, revisiting conversations from Tim's childhood. They play countless games of table tennis on the lawn, a cherished ritual, savouring the banter and the simple pleasure of being together. He goes back to moments he didn't fully appreciate at the time, now armed with the heartbreaking knowledge of their fleetingness. These journeys are bittersweet, tinged with the awareness of the inevitable future. He sees his father younger, healthier, full of life, knowing what lies ahead. It's a way of prolonging the farewell, of etching every detail of his father into his memory. His father, knowing Tim is doing this, shares the time generously, offering final pieces of wisdom, reassurance, and love. He encourages Tim to focus on the future, on Mary and the children. Then comes a new complication that crystallizes the ultimate limitation of the gift. Mary expresses a desire to have another child. Tim is overjoyed at the prospect, but his father delivers a final, heavy piece of advice tied to the rules of time travel. Once the new baby is conceived, Tim will no longer be able to travel back to visit his father. Any trip back to a time before the new baby's conception would risk altering the circumstances, potentially erasing that child, just as happened temporarily with Posy. The choice becomes stark. Have the third child he and Mary long for, embracing the future of his growing family, or cling to the ability to revisit his father in the past, effectively halting his family's expansion? It's a choice between holding on to the past and embracing the future. His father, characteristically selfless, encourages Tim to choose the future, to welcome the new life. The day comes when Tim must say his final goodbye, in the past. Knowing it will be the last time he can ever see his father through time travel before the new baby prevents further visits, Tim chooses a seemingly ordinary moment from his own childhood, walking hand in hand with his father on the beach. They don't say much, they just walk, the father young and vibrant, the son cherishing this stolen, final fragment of time. It is an achingly poignant farewell, a silent acknowledgement of love, loss, and the relentless march of time that even their secret power cannot ultimately halt. He returns to the present, carrying the weight of that final, invisible goodbye. Soon after, James Lake passes away, surrounded by his family. The funeral is filled with sadness, but also with the warmth and eccentricity characteristic of the Lakes. Tim grieves deeply, but carries his father's lessons and the memories, both real and revisited, within him. True to their decision, Tim and Mary welcome their third child. With the baby's arrival, the door to visiting his father in the past closes forever. Tim accepts this. He has his memories, the invaluable time his gift allowed him, and his father's enduring wisdom. And in the wake of his father's death and the birth of his new child, Tim comes to a profound realization. He finds he's using the time travel ability less and less. The urge to fix, to perfect, to rewind has faded. He starts trying to live his father's 2 lives a day philosophy without the actual time travel. He consciously tries to live each day as if he has deliberately come back to it, choosing to notice the beauty, the joy, the small wonders hidden within the ordinary fabric of life the first time around. He discovers that he doesn't need the dark cupboards and clenched fists anymore. The real magic wasn't the rewinding, it was the perspective shift it enabled. He learns to appreciate the messy, imperfect, unpredictable beauty of his life as it unfolds in real time. The commute to work, the shared breakfast with Mary, the nightly chaos of putting the children to bed. These moments, once sources of potential stress or candidates for a temporal edit, become precious in their own right. He sees the extraordinary woven into the ordinary. He understands now what his father truly meant. Happiness isn't about curating a perfect past, it's about fully inhabiting the present. It's about loving the people around you, enduring the challenges together, and savouring the fleeting everyday moments that make up a life. The time travel was a catalyst, a training tool, but the ultimate lesson was one of presence and appreciation. Outro music begins softly, visuals return to Cornwall, perhaps Tim walking on the beach with his family. And so, Tim Lake's journey through time becomes a journey into the heart of what it means to live fully. About Time isn't really about the mechanics of time travel. It's a love letter to life itself, in all its glorious, messy, unpredictable beauty. It reminds us that we all have our own kind of time travel, the power of memory, the choice to be present, the ability to appreciate each day as a gift. Tim learned, through an extraordinary inherited quirk, what we can all strive for, to live life with open eyes and an open heart, finding the magic not in rewinding time, but in embracing the precious moments we have, right here, right now. You don't need a secret ability passed down through generations, you just need to decide to notice, to live each day, perhaps not twice, but once, with purpose, with gratitude, and with love. Thanks for joining me on this journey back through About Time. What lessons did you take away from Tim's story? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more cinematic explorations. Until next time, live well and appreciate the ordinary.